Ooh, what's good, Commanders fans? We got a lot of news, a lot of quick news here. So we're just gonna get to it, man. We're gonna start with Bobby Wagner. Let me fix the camera a little bit here. We're gonna start with Bobby Wagner coming back. Congrats to Bobby Wagner. I know some people wanted to upgrade the position to get faster and get younger and get quicker, but Bobby Wagner on a one-year deal is not a bad thing. We know him and Jaden are best buds. Dan Quinn loves him since the Seattle Seahawks days. Ken Norton Jr. loves Bobby Wagner since the Seahawks days as well. So you knew he was going to come back. Everybody knew he was going to come back, and he had a darn good season. Like, I know the NFC Championship game where he was just slow getting to Saquon. Everybody remembers that play, but you got to remember the game against the Browns where he had a sack or two. He had a sack against the Cardinals. A bunch of tackles. We know he's always going to get 100 tackles in a season. All-Pro Bobby Wagner as well. Another All-Pro season for Bobby Wagner, and you can't forget about the relationship with Jaden Daniels, man. Like, that's huge, and he's a huge leader of the team. Like, he's been one of the best. Him and Frankie Louvu are a legitimate duo. They are a legit dynamic duo. They know where to be. They know to tell people where to go. Bobby Wagner is like another quarterback out there. He's like another coach, and I think this year coming up probably will be the last year. How old is he? He's 34. He's 34, and he's getting his degree from Howard. So that's another thing. There's just so many signs to have him come back, and just the relationship aspect, and him having a good season. And we had a great season as a team. Anyway, he just loves it here with Jaden, Dan Quinn, and Ken Norton, other guys, and Frankie Louvu. So I just didn't see them letting him go. Now, he was getting paid $6.5 million last season. Now he's going to get about $9.5 million, if I'm not mistaken, which is a solid deal. I mean, that's about middle of the pack for linebackers. Paying somebody who's 34, $9.5 million is not bad. It's not bad at all, in my opinion. So, yeah, look at some of the other linebackers in the league. Patrick Queen's getting $13 million a year. JOK, $12 million a year. Bobby Okereke, $10 million a year. Logan Wilson, $9 million a year. CJ Mosley, $8 million a year. So that's kind of where Levante David, $8.5 million per year. We know the money's going up. The cap space is going up. So we're going to start signing our own guys. Maybe Jeremy Chin. Maybe Diami, maybe Noah Brown, maybe OZ, Zach Ertz, guys like that. We may see some deals like that. We just re-signed Zane Gonzalez, the divisional doink. So you look at some numbers for Bobby Wagner, 91.0 pass rush grade. He had 2 sacks on the season. Remember when he was showboating in Deshaun Watson's face, just, giving him a nod after he got the sack on Deshaun. That was hilarious. 90.8 run defense grade. And remember him scooping up the fumble against the Buccaneers. That was a huge play for our first playoff win in 20 years. So that was huge by Bobby, because we don't recover fumbles like that. So he will always go down in history for recovering that fumble. That was a big play by him. 90.8 run defense grade, 89.9 overall grade per PFF, and a 68.1 PFF grade. Also, he was like top 5 in almost every statistical category per PFF. I know it's not gospel, but the fact that he graded really, really high in almost every statistical category is showing that he's a legit guy. He's still a very productive player. He was 90.7 run defense grade, which was second, 90.6 pass rush grade, which was second among linebackers this season, 5.0% missed tackle rate, which was third lowest. So he does not miss tackles. That's one thing you know about Bobby Wagner. He's not going to miss the tackle. He's going to finish plays. It may be 5 yards down the field after a 5-yard run, but he's going to wrap up and he's going to make the play. So that's what you know. You know every day you're going to get what you're going to get from Bobby Wagner. You're going to get toughness, basically like a player coach, like I said, and a guy that gets along really well with your best player, Jaden Daniels. So that's what really matters there with bringing him back, and him and Frankie Louvu have a good dynamic duo. So Bobby had how many tackles in the season? He had 132 tackles in the season, which is insane. That's just what he does. 8 quarterback hits as well, 2 fumble recoveries, 4 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and 2 sacks. So darn good season for Bobby. And I don't think we'll get Dre Greenlaw anymore, anybody like that, any other linebacker. I think we're going to stick with what we got, which I have no problem. Jordan McGee, we'll see if he can, we see the mic'd up with him coaching up Dominique Hampton, probably coaching up Jordan McGee and stuff like that. And he's talking trash to other teams and going back and forth with Jaden Daniels. So good sign with Bobby Wagner there. So, all right, let's move on to Trey Hendrickson, man. So Jordan Schultz has really connected us to Trey Hendrickson, man. He really believes that we're going to get Trey Hendrickson. He said, like, we were the one team that he brought up first. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have said, multiple teams are inquiring and whatnot, but he went out of his way to say that the Commanders are intrigued or interested. I'm going to read what he said. He said, sources, the Falcons, like the Commanders, have also been monitoring the Trey Hendrickson situation. With this trade request now official, more teams are getting involved in the Bengals all-pro pass defensive end. So, man, hey, look, Myles Garrett, if he's not getting traded, then Trey Hendrickson is definitely a good backup plan. I'll say that. 17.5 sacks this year, 17.5 sacks the year before, led the league in sacks, was voted to, I think he was voted second to be Defensive Player of the Year as well, led the league in pressures, had 6 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles. He had a sack against us, but we did a good job against Trey Hendrickson. So back-to-back years of 17.5 sacks is pretty crazy. And he had 14 sacks in 2021, 13.5 sacks in 2020 with New Orleans. Then he went to the Bungles, and he got 14 sacks. A down year for him was 8 sacks in 15 games with the Bengals. Pro Bowler for the last 4 seasons, All-Pro this year, Defensive Player of the Year candidate this year as well. So we need a pass rusher. Is he a run stopper? That's not what he's known for, but just a pass rush in general, a pass rusher, we need that. We need to get pressure on the quarterback. So if you can keep Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, and then have Trey Hendrickson as your starter, and have Dante come off the bench behind Trey Hendrickson, and you have Cleveland Farrell on a 1-year deal or whatever, and Jalen Holmes and Javonte Jean-Baptiste, that's a darn good pass rushing rotation there. And Trey Hendrickson, he's going to play the majority of the snaps. So whoever is behind him is not going to get a lot of snaps. Now look at some of his numbers. He was very high in snap counts. He was 13th out of 211 edge rushers in snap counts, 88.1 PFF grade, which was 8th among 211 edge rushers, 83 pressures, which was first among all edge rushers, 6'4", 270 pounds, 30 years old. He's looking to get paid. Excuse me. Max Crosby just got an extension. There's a report saying that he's not too concerned about going to a contender, but you know he saw what we did to him on Monday Night Football. He saw it firsthand, just like Myles Garrett saw it. So he knows what's going on over here. So I do feel like he would want to be here. But like I said, Jordan Schultz bringing us up, saying that we're interested or monitoring the situation is pretty significant there for me. Pretty significant. So I think they kind of know that the Myles Garrett situation is probably not likely. So, but you're probably gonna have to give up a 1st round pick, just like with Myles Garrett. You probably don't have to give up 2 firsts for Trey Hendrickson, but I would imagine like a 1st and a 3rd, maybe something like that. 1st and next year's 3rd or something like that. I can see that happening for Trey Hendrickson. I think he's worth it, man. You got to pay him too. It's probably gonna be about 25 to 30 million. Like I was saying before, Max Crosby is getting $35 million per year. Nick Bosa 34. Josh Allen $28 million per year. Brian Burns 28. So Trey Hendrickson is definitely gonna get more than that. He's getting paid $21 million per year. He deserves to get paid more than that. And we talk about allocating money and draft capital, like spending draft capital on DK Metcalf. I think it's time to pay attention to the defensive side of the ball. I don't mind getting another wide receiver, another weapon for Jaden Daniels, but we have to address the defense. And I think Trey Hendrickson is worth it to get as a 1st round pick or a 2nd round pick or a 2nd round and a 5th or something. We don't even have a 5th round pick, but you guys definitely understand how badly we need a pass rusher. Just getting pressure on the quarterback, even if he's not a strong at stopping the run. Just getting a pass rush is going to be huge for us. It's going to be huge for this defense, man. 17.5 sacks, that back-to-back years, like, come on now. You got to make that happen. He does look similar to Ryan Kerrigan. He really does. He looks similar to Ryan Kerrigan and wears the number 91 as well. So I think he would do wonders with this defense as well. We got to sure. And, you know, we're going to have some cap space with Jonathan Allen being released. So we already have cap space anyway, but you can allocate that money to Trey Hendrickson for sure. So Trey Hendrickson, some other numbers on Trey is, where is he at? Trey Hendrickson last year, this is from Louis Riddick. These are some numbers that he just put out. Yeah, 2020, number 3 in pressure percentage, number 1 in sacks, and sack percentage, number 3 in pass rush win rate as well. 2023, he was number 7 in pressure percentage, tied 2nd in sacks and number 1 in sack percentage in 2023. 11th in pass rush win rate in 2023 as well. He has not missed a game / start the past 2 seasons. So, and he plays a lot of snaps. 72% of snaps played in 2024. 67% of the snaps played in 2023 as well. So, hey man, say man, go get Trey Hendrickson. A lot of people on Twitter are like, oh, I've heard some big Commanders news and stuff like that. I'm like, everybody has a source now. Everybody is Adam Schefter now. So we'll see what happens with that. He had a 65.9 run defense grade, which was 67 out of 211 edge rushers, which is the middle of the pack. So he's not terrible. So, but I would definitely go in for Trey Hendrickson for sure. I definitely would. He plays with a high motor. He plays at 110% on every snap. All right, you guys. As always, the Bengals, they couldn't pay him. They had to pay Jamar Chase. They had to pay T. Higgins with the franchise tag. They paid Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow wanted Trey Hendrickson to stay, too. So there was a couple reports and stuff that the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson just couldn't see eye to eye financially, contractually, and, they gave him permission to seek a trade. So, all right, you guys. As always, hello, Commanders. Peace.